Hello everyone and welcome to another Plotly Dash video. In this one we're going to be jumping into one of the most popular packages, which is going to be Dash AG Grid. There's going to be a lot of stuff that we're going to be covering in this, where I'm going to kind of talk about the top 10 configurations, where I kind of set out to create 10 unique Dash AG Grid examples to kind of use as a place to showcase you what all is possible within this amazing package. So just kind of cycling through some of these real quick to give you an idea of what we're going to be covering. But before we jump into this, let's kind of look at the GitHub repository. I want to give a special mention to those that have contributed to build this out. BS Dev, Anne Marie, those are two of the most active contributors to this project. But overall, it is extensive with the amount of people that have come together within the community to help make this a thing. And what we have from it is something that is truly amazing and powerful. So before we jump into the actual examples that I have to share, I'd like to showcase some places that you can go to find some great resources and documentation that can help you along your journey. So this is a site that was made by Anne Marie, which is Dash AG Grid Examples, which has an extensive list of examples and code that you can use to quickly get Dash AG Grid set up within your own Python environment. So just to kind of show you how simple this is 2 lines of code where you can basically create a Dash AG grid, and we can kind of look through the functionality of that. So I'm going to just go into my IDE real quick, and then I'll just kind of create a new project, which is going to be simple example. And I copied her simple example verbatim. And as you can see, it's 21 lines of code in total, but the actual Dash AG grid is about 3 lines of code. So if I run this simple example, I'm going to give it a unique port, and I'm just going to do 477. All right. And with that, we're going to run this. So this is a temporary error, and it's because I'm working within a Mac. But the way that I could resolve this is by adding SSL. So I could import SSL at the top, and I can set my SSL to create a default HTTPS connection. But basically what is happening for the error is it's trying to read the data frame, but because I'm on a Mac, it doesn't think it's secure. So this will allow it to just say, hey, do it anyway. So I'm going to rerun this. And as you can see, now it ran. But yeah, here you go. This is the example. This is just and what the rocket is and what time and date that those specific launches happened. So as you can see, it took very little code to get this up and running, where it's basically reading in a CSV file, and then within the layout, I'm defining Dash AG Grid, which you can import via a pip install Dash AG Grid. So with that, let's kind of jump into the cool examples that I have to share for you. So I have a lot of these already set up for you. We will work our way down, but before we do, let's kind of talk about one more great resource, which is going to be the Plotly Dash documentation. You can go here and you could scroll down through here, but I would look for dash.plotly.com/-agGrid. And within that, there are a ton of resources that could be useful in helping you understand the different props and functionality that you can use to create your applications. As you can see here, this is the whole directory. So there's a lot of stuff to cover within this. Now, diving into the fun part, we're going to start off with a simple theme editor, and we're going to work our way down into more advanced stuff. So this is one that I created to kind of just showcase some of the different options that you have in regards to Dash AG Grid. So you can pass through a theme. For example, if you wanted a light theme, if you wanted a dark theme, and it kind of changes the style of the Dash AG Grid. You can also use a custom design, and the way that I did this is by creating a color picker using DAQ, and this will allow me, for example, I'll use yellow, and I will apply the color, and it will change the header. So I don't think yellow is probably the best one to use, but a darker color might suit the theme better, just depending on what your design is. So this is a real easy way to integrate, themes into your -AG grid. And within this whole project, and as I go through it, I've included README files on each one of the different examples that I have to share. So in your own time, we're not really going to be covering the code because it's extensive to kind of go through 10 examples in one video, but the code is there. And I also provided a README file, which you can use as reference to better understand each individual file and what was used to set those up. So this is best practices and how this was kind of all set up with using the dark mode and providing a toggle or being able to change the theme dynamically. So overall, really cool to just have that styling available with this component. So this is very similar to Excel. Some of the ways that you can use this is by integrating a one-click option to filter. So you can kind of use this example for reference for that. So if I wanted to search for Python developers, I can press a button and then it automatically organizes the -AG grid to suit that criteria. So as you can see, whenever I click the button, it changes the quick search to Python, and all of the skills are going to have Python somewhere within them. Now, you could talk about high earners, and high earners is going to filter the data set by anybody that is making over 150,000. And there's also performance metrics, and at the top, you can change any of these to equal a certain thing or whatever you're trying to do. So if I wanted to filter this -AG grid, if it contains, for example, excellent, I could just type in excellent because I only want to hire an excellent developer. It's going to filter the -AG grid to show excellent developers. So really great interactive functionality within -AG grid, the filtering, and having quick filter options. So moving on a little bit further, this is a cool graph as I see more and more people using Plotly and Dash within financial institutions. This is one that is designed around picking a stock, for example, Microsoft, and it populates a Plotly graph in retrospect to the selection of the -AG grid. So as you can see here, this updates every 5 seconds or whatever it might be, but it's a great indicator for what is possible. We have a spark line, which is going to be used within the -AG grid, which showcases the same trend, as you can see here, that is being displayed within the Plotly graph. So you're getting a few different functionalities here where you're having a constant update mechanism. You're having the spark line, and it matches the actual Plotly render of the chart, which is really cool. So this is another great use case and configuration that you can use with -AG grid. So moving on, this one's a pretty cool one because it allows you to click within the actual AG grid row, and you could dynamically update it just like that. So you can change any of these criteria by just double clicking within the actual cell of the row, and you can configure this to whatever you want. And this is just kind of some of the demonstration in regards to the different drop downs, the text, changing it. So I can just say Austin, my name, and then it all gets saved. So that is really, really cool, and it allows you to easily work within the rows and to build a dashboard that is dynamic, which people can go after the fact and apply quickly changes to the data sets as you are working. You can also add a new task, and it just added it. But yeah, this is really, really great use case for -AG grid. So moving on a little bit further, this is an infinite scroll demo where I'm basically pulling out a large data set of 10,000 rows, and I just wanted to showcase how it looks like it's loaded everything all at once. And it practically has. The way that it does this is it initially renders the first 1,000 rows or whatever, and then as you scroll through, it will start loading in more and more data. And this is a lot of data to look through, and it works flawlessly. So you also still have the functionality within search parameters where you can look for specific things. So if I just wanted to type in 982, and then these are all the 982s. So pretty cool. All right. Moving on a little bit further, this is a cool one because this provides indicators within the Dash AG grid. This is like a flashing update example. So if I want to update a price, as you can see, it updates the actual rows to reflect that those have seen positive returns as a green highlight over the individual row. So I could flash all prices, I could flash all rows, I could flash single prices. But yeah, this is pretty great use case for just kind of showing what is possible. You can also auto update it, where every 5 seconds it will automatically update. But yeah, I could see this really useful in a trading application or some type of financial reasoning, or maybe even indicator for equipment or something. If something were to go wrong, then you can have a flashing indicator of red or green or whatever the alert is with the equipment. So another great use case for Dash AG Grid. So moving on a little bit further, I wanted to give an example of some of the different graphs that you can use integrated with Dash AG Grid. So this one is like a line chart where you can hover over it and you can see the line. And then we also have a volume trend where you can kind of see the volume associated with the actual asset. And then you can also use a bar chart to signify daily changes. So these are all really great use cases for having dynamic, really clean looking, tables within your Dash applications. But this is performance and functionality that you can't see within Excel or Google Sheets or any of the other major ones. This is all custom made, but it allows you to kind of build something that stands out amongst the crowd. So moving on a little bit further, I wanted to showcase what was a task board. So this allows you to have dragging functionality where you can drag tasks around. You can move tasks from one grid to the next, as you can see here. Pretty cool. And then as you move them to be complete, the actual completion bar will increase. So I can move multiple, and as you can see, we've gotten more done. So that's a really cool example of being able to drag different rows around and being able to move them within other Dash AG grids. But this would be a really great component in partnership with a task dashboard, for example. So moving on a little bit further, we have this order management system that I built out, which kind of shows how we can use a detail view to get more insight into a specific row. So if you don't want to clutter the actual data of the Dash AG grid, you can compartmentalize it into the actual row, and then you can have a detail card that can be viewed by clicking on the caret on the side. So this is a great way to work within data sets that have a bunch of other different data associated with it. For example, in this, it's kind of showcasing like a department store. And then you click on it, you get a detailed view of how many laptops they're selling or how many pen sets or desk chairs. But you don't necessarily need to see that on a specific glance. You're kind of just worried about the total. But if you wanted to inspect it further, that option is also available through the detail view. Now this is a pivot table. Pivot tables are really cool. I kind of geek over this, but yeah. So if I go into category, I can go into products. You can kind of see how this can start to get built out. So it allows you to compartmentalize the data. We can go into revenue, for example, and it adds rows and columns associated with it, and you can kind of drag these around. So I can take any of these. For example, sales report, I can move that to this side, and it kind of changes the whole dynamics of what we are viewing here. So this is kind of breaking down the individual names, and because we're kind of focusing on the sales representation, we can see the revenue for each individual person quickly. So this is a very dynamic use case with using Dash AG Grid, and it's the pivot table system that allows that. So it's drag functionality. There's a filter button over here where you can specify more information, and it just provides the most amount of options with your Dash AG Grid configuration. So really great way to build out a Dash AG Grid. and then we are brought back with our initial introduction. So this is just scratching the surface of what is possible. I have another example that we are going to be working through in the next video where we're going to kind of showcase how to integrate AI with -AG Grid. So watch that video after this one. But what this will entail is providing an API key and then getting a summary. So if you want to get some actual practice in actually building out with -AG Grid, watch that next video as we will build that out together. But with that, I hope that this gives you an indicator of what all is possible with -AG Grid, because there is so many possibilities for you to build out and innovate with this amazing component using the Dash framework. And with that, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.